What is this place?
The best crooks and criminals live here.
Kung Fu Panda 4 is real. It is actually real. For some reason, I always saw this on an upcoming calendar schedule from DreamWorks and just didn't really believe it. It seems like the classic kind of thing you would leak, and to be fair, a version of the trailer has leaked, but also, the official trailer is officially here. That's good. Actually set for March of next year, literally just 3 months away. I was wondering if this thing was even real since we've seen so little stuff. But yes, Jack Black is back. Everyone's making the reappearances that make logical sense. And even the old villains are back. Here it is, the visuals. Look at it, beautiful. High-end DreamWorks animation quality. And though I still haven't seen Kung Fu Panda 2 or 3, and I was planning to do it for the release of the actual movie, I forgot there'd be a trailer and I need to be updated for that, I at least know the plot details of the latest movie. Spoilers be damned. And I was always wondering, how are you meant to do the 4th installment? Surely it's going to get a little tired at that point, and they're semi-addressing it by bringing back all the old villains. But not really. It's a cameo from them all to lead up to the ultimate, baddest, totally worst villain of all time so far, a chameleon. No longer a big, brutish creature like a gigantic, evil tiger. No, if a mantis can be a warrior, then so can a little lizard. And it's a nice way to do some cameo appearances on the voice acting front. And speaking of the voice acting front, new voice actors are into the mix. Even though we don't see the appearance of the other warriors like Monkey and Jackie Chan or Seth Rogen as the mantis, I'm sure they're in there to some capacity. But also on top of that, we have the latest, most trending actors to involve into the mix. Of course, Awkwafina is in it. There she is. She is playing the character of Zen, this new Fox-type character that seems to know everything and is the sidekick that's staying to Poe's hip the entire time throughout this trailer. Okay, sure. Then on the other front, we have the fan favorite guy who's so happily back into the industry. It's Ke Huy Quan. He plays the dodgy-looking lizard asking for a painful death. And then you have another Oscar winner with Viola Davis as our big bad villain. Really, this kind of sounds like the ultimate modern Kung Fu Panda experience. It looks better, it takes the story further, expands the universe some more, gives us cameos of the old, and brings us into the trending new. I will say, Master Shifu sounds a little bit different in this trailer. That just could be me. My reference is only the first movie after all. But it's still Dustin Hoffman. Weird to think that's Hook. Also weird, now that I'm looking at the cast lists, James Hong is Mr. Ping. That's the granddad in Everything Everywhere. It really is all connected. And Michelle Yeoh was Soothsayer in the second movie. Though I guess it makes sense considering this is a very action-based movie. There's a lot of overlap in a lot of places, as well as limitations in the industry.
Violence makes our tummies tingle.
Why? Still, yes, the movie is real, you can see it with your own eyes, and there are all sorts of other details to share in case you're not aware. The plot more directly noting that Po, despite already clearly being a master dragon warrior and also being able to go to the spiritual universe and do some chi shenanigans, is now going to have a bumbling adventure into the next level up as he attempts to assume the position of spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. They just keep moving the goalposts for this poor panda. Still, he will now need to train a new kung fu fighter to assume his former role as Dragon Warrior. Hence, Awkwafina. And a more expanded synopsis says, after 3 death-defying adventures defeating world-class villains with his unmatched courage and mad martial arts skills, Po the Dragon Warrior is called upon by destiny to give it a rest already. More specifically, he's tapped to become the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. That poses a couple of obvious problems. First, Po knows as much about spiritual leadership as he does about the paleo diet. And second, he needs to quickly find and train a new dragon warrior before he can assume his lofty position. Even worse, there's been a recent sighting of a wicked, powerful sorceress, Chameleon. A tiny lizard who can shapeshift into any creature, large and small. Side note, I love the animation behind it and how they actually have them transforming into all other characters. It leads into a voice acting cameo, and when the chameleon turns into Po, brilliant by the way, it's all scaled up. I can like it a lot. I love animation, man.
Big fan.
Hey there, thank you for making it to the halfway mark of this video. Since you're this far in, why don't you come join and subscribe? We've only recently passed 500,000 subscribers, so thank you if you have joined along the way. And if you want to hear about more movie news as quick as I can do it, this is the second time I've been mid-peeing on the toilet when I found out this thing existed. Thank you to Storm on Discord, by the way, for pointing it out to me. Please do pester me when movie news comes out, not when I'm on the toilet. And we'll cover anything we can. Anyway, back to the video. Kung Fu Panda 4 is real.
Or slow and painful.
Anyway, back to the extended synopsis. And Chameleon has her greedy, beady little eyes on Poe's Staff of Wisdom, which would give her the power to re-summon all the master villains whom Poe has vanquished to the spirit realm. Though I guess that's kind of a spoiler because the very first scene shows that exact thing happening to Tai Lung. Sure. But there you are, that's at least the plot up front and center. And along with the voice cast coming back for all of their assorted roles, we also have Hans Zimmer coming back as the soundtrack composer, Dustin Hoffman, James Hong, Bryan Cranston as Bo's birth father, and Ian McShane as Tai Lung all of course come back. And apparently Ke Hui's character, Han, is known as the leader of the Den of Thieves. That's what they're dealing with that whole bladed sequence. Now, I'm actually quite skeptical when it comes to a movie with a 4 on the end of it. You know, starting to get a little bit greedy and tired at that point. But as I hear it, a lot of people seem to justify this movie quite well. Not only is Kung Fu Panda already like one of the best trilogies that DreamWorks has made, and now, I guess, a quadrilogy, but apparently it fits quite nicely into the story. But we'll see. From the little thematic research that I have done into the prior films, Kung Fu Panda 3 is seen as a little bit of a step beyond the earlier 2 movies, as being a little bit more mature and serious in different ways. Apparently drawing up from traditional Daoist and Taoist themes, which is an incredible representation of other Chinese, I guess, sort of cultural emphases. Whether Kung Fu Panda 4 takes a similar approach and goes on to one of these core tenets of storytelling and messaging, I'll be curious to see, because it could easily just be, you know, just a bit much. Although it's Jack Black. Jack Black can kind of just do what he wants. Now, usually when I talk about new movies, I quite like talking about the crew members involved and some production details in the back end, but it's actually not too clear on the Kung Fu Panda front. It could just be journalists doing journalism things, but no one wants to talk about the writer or the director, so my source is going to be IMDb. Not always the most consistent, but according to this at least, there are 2 directors on board. You got Mike Mitchell, previously doing the likes of Shrek Forever After, the Lego Movie 2, and Trolls 1, but not any Kung Fu Panda things in the past, as well as Stephanie Stein, who also did not direct Kung Fu Panda in the past, who directed 5 episodes in the She-Ra and the Princesses of Powers TV series, as well as being the storyboard artist for How to Train Your Dragon 3 and Raya and the Last Dragon. Really likes dragon stuffs. Whereas the director for the first Kung Fu Panda movie, John Stevenson, did Romeo and Juliet 2 and then went to storyboard artist stuff. And yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3 had totally different directors with Alessandro Carloni and Jennifer Yu Nelson. Again, only directing Kung Fu Panda 3 and The Shark on the Piano, and then alternatively, yeah, still not directing stuff afterwards, doing Love, Death and Robots as a supervising director, and getting back into the storyboard artist career. That's some interesting trends of storyboard artists and directors going on at DreamWorks. On the writing front though, supposedly you have Jonathan Abel, writing all sorts of things like Trolls World Tour, Monster Trucks, Sponge on the Run, and Luck. And Glenn Berger, producing all sorts of DreamWorks movies, as well as, again, doing the writing for Trolls World Tour, Sponge on the Run, and Luck. It's DreamWorks bigwigs, I guess, going ahead of these productions. Or all this information is entirely wrong, and nobody's really talking about it. The marketing around this movie has been kind of weird. This is kind of last minute, isn't it? And then the details are just focusing on the Oscar winners, which I guess is marketing, but like, it's strange, man. But at least we finally know that it's real, so that's something. Beyond that, I think it looks pretty great. I think it's the perfect way to do a 4th installment. I just hope it pays off in a way that matters and works. Clearly, this is a beloved story and a beloved franchise, and it has ways it can expand, but maybe it was done enough at the 3rd one. I really don't have my 2 cents on it properly formed yet. Come round to March 8th or 16th or 24th. Again, the journalism marketing around this movie is completely inconsistent, and I'll certainly have a full opinion on the franchise as a whole, maybe from a bit more of an outsider's look. March 8th in the US, supposedly. Beyond that, I hope it's just modern, classic DreamWorks goodness. You know they can do it in the past, and honestly, if they flub it here, then it's really gonna look bad for the future of Shrek or another How to Train Your Dragon. They are making it live action after all. Anyway, on that note, I shall end it off here. My name's been Daz. You didn't really care. Let me know your thoughts on what you think about this movie. I'm maybe a little bit more apprehensive, but I'm not as much in the know as maybe your average person. And I'll see you in a little bit.
Stand back. I'm gonna kick my butt.